It is Sunday, January 25th, about 1 hour before sunrise, and I'm standing at the entrance to the Leslie Spit, which is a 5-kilometer tract of land that extends all the way out into Lake Ontario. And at the very end of the spit, there's a lighthouse known as the Toronto Harbour Light, and that's our destination for today. After checking out that lighthouse, rather than taking the same path back that we took out to see it, the plan is to take the outer harbour path, the path that is much more windswept and exposed and offers views across to the American side. Now, we are in the middle of a polar vortex apparently, and 20 to 40 centimeters of snow is forecast to fall before the end of the day. Now, nothing's falling at the moment, but I think I should get a start before it does. I'm only about 1 kilometer into my hike, and my goodness, has the snow ever showed up. It's blasting in from the American side, and the waves out there are really incredible, breaking right against the shore. Big waves. Anyway, I'm not cold, my hands are cold, but the rest of my body's quite warm, so I'm gonna keep going and see how far I can get. I may need to adjust my plans to come back along the outer harbor, but we'll see. I'm about 2 kilometers out towards the end of the spit now, and my God, the weather has not let up at all. In fact, the opposite, it has really picked up. The wind is howling in from off the lake. And, you know, it is cold, but the real problem is it's moist. When I point my camera out in the direction of the lake, the lens comes back all encased in ice. Anyway, about 3 more kilometers to go, and I'm feeling good, despite the incredible weather. And, well, onwards and upwards. Probably about halfway out to the lighthouse, and you know, I'm taking it step by step because this weather keeps picking up and the visibility keeps declining. It's very hard to see very far in front of you, very hard to get focus, and very hard to keep ice off your lens the moment you point it into the wind. So I've retreated to the leeward side of the spit, and I've got a cup of coffee here. Oh my goodness, that is really hitting the spot. I'm still warm except for the fingers, and I'm going to keep going out there, but I'm not sure how far I'm going to get today. I may or may not make it to the end, but I hope to. Anyway, a very exciting and energetic day to be out. There's just so much wind and waves and energy in the air. It's exciting. As we get closer to the lighthouse, our conditions are becoming increasingly challenging. We're much more exposed out at this part of the spit, and the wind is just howling in off the lake, bringing a lot of blowing snow with it. Anyway, we've got a pedestrian bridge behind us that'll take us across a pond. And once we get across this pond, it'll be a straight line out to the end of the spit. just made my way across the pedestrian bridge that helps you get across the pond that lies midway out to the spit. And my goodness, the wind coming across that pond was something else. If it wasn't for the hand railings on the side of the bridge, I think it'd be blowing off into the water or onto the ice that surrounds the bridge. Anyway, I've now crossed it and I've got about 1.5 kilometers more to go in order to get to the lighthouse at the end. The wind's picked up and I can tell just looking up trail, the whiteout conditions are easily double what they were from where I just came. Anyway, gonna make my way to the end and check out this lighthouse. Made it out to the lighthouse, or at least within a couple hundred meters of it. The lighthouse is located just up this hill behind me at the top. And next step for me is going to be to make my way to the top of the hill, where it will be very windy, very snowy, and very cold. But hopefully I'll also be able to get some views of the Toronto skyline, which at the moment, at ground level, is just totally whited out. Well, I've made my way up here to the lighthouse and I've taken refuge in a small shed of sorts. It's got 3 windows, all of which are blown out, and a door, which is also not there. So I'm still at the mercy of the elements, but at least some of the wind is, kept off me by this shelter. In any case, my hope was I'd be able to see some cityscape views from where I'm standing here. However, there's no way. It is just completely whited out. Unless you knew Toronto was there, you wouldn't know it was there. Anyway, I'm about to begin my trek back, and originally I'd planned to go along the outer harbour, but seeing the wind and the snow and feeling the temperature, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but we'll see. I've got about 1 kilometer back along my trail before I have to decide if I want to take the alternate route and go along the outer harbour. So we'll just play that by ear and make that a game time decision. Anyway, I'm going to have myself some coffee, and after that's done, I'm going to start making my way back along the trail. As I was packing up for my coffee, my fingers wouldn't work. I couldn't do the zippers up in my camera bag. But finally, I got it open and got a pair of mitts out. I brought mitts this time. And I put some hot shots in these mitts before I left the truck. And this is like a warm bath right now. Oh my goodness, my hands are starting to come back to life because I don't think I could have put my gloves on. That's how cold my fingers were. Anyway, I'm going to spend a few more minutes in this little gazebo of a hut and just get warmed up, and then I'm going to start making my way back down the trail. I've made the decision not to head back along the outer harbour. The moment I left the lighthouse and started walking back down towards the path, oh my God, the wind, whiteout conditions. Thank God I know where I'm going, otherwise I don't think I'd know where I'm going. Anyway, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit and try to put 1 kilometer behind me so I can get into a more sheltered area because the storm's getting real. I've passed the turnoff that I would have taken to go to the outer harbour, and I continue to make my way back towards the pedestrian bridge, the one that spanned the pond. And with every step, visibility is diminishing. And once I get across that pedestrian bridge, I'm hopeful that I'll get a bit more visibility back, but I've probably got 50 meters to 10 meters of visibility, depending upon the wind. In fact, I just met up with another guy who's out here birding, and I just watched him come out of the snow like an apparition. It was really something else. Anyway, onwards and upwards here. Still warm, hands are okay. The wind is extraordinary, and some parts of my face feel like they're getting sanded. by the snow when I walk past the windy exposed areas. Anyway, still having fun, And yeah, onwards to the pedestrian bridge, which won't be fun. We're on the pedestrian bridge now, and my goodness, the wind is really coming in. And visibility is a fraction of what it was when I came out here. So this is probably the windiest stretch I have to deal with before getting back to my vehicle. So I'm gonna get on with it here. Oh. Well, I've made my way across the pedestrian bridge without any difficulty, but my God, the wind. And not only the wind, but the drifts. The snow has really drifted on either side of the bridge. You know, it's knee deep now, and on the way out there, it was probably, oh gosh, I don't know, just over the top of my toes. So the wind's been busy and the snow's been accumulating since my first pass. Anyway, I'm now on the south side of the pedestrian bridge, and I'm gonna make my way back towards the truck. I've made my way almost all the way back to the truck. I'm just about half a kilometer out, and the weather has turned for the snowier. Oh my goodness, the wind, the blowing snow. I can't even really tell where the trail is. I mean, it's not like I'm in danger of falling into the lake, but you know, there were times where I just walked in a straight line, and when I hit bushes, I veered, you know, off to one direction so I'd stay on the road. But it is, it's a full-on whiteout at this point. Anyway, what an amazing hike this has been. Going all the way to the end of the Leslie Spit during a polar vortex, no less, with all this incredible wind and snow and waves. Unfortunately, no wildlife. They were smart. They've dug themselves in somewhere, and they don't need to be out in this weather. But it's been an absolutely terrific day for me, and it's almost 1:30 now, and I left just after sunrise, so I don't know, 6:30 or so. Time sure flies when you're out here, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along on my snowy polar vortex winter hike, and we hope to see you on the next one.